Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I am Shad here with Matt. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Uh, we're joking around that Brad's out apparently with a little touch of the diarrhea lettuce.
Uh,
His cyclospora.
it was that
Uh,
Cyclospora Taco Bell combo that
yeah.
not no, no, not well.
People hated
Hopefully
on
not.
Taco Bell. Taco Bell was one of the few people that it's like, oh, we're gonna like pull all of our stuff
Yeah,
immediately. They're
hmm
like, they're the good guys in this. They're like, no,
they are.
I will
Yeah,
not have the good name of Taco Bell slandered. People like always Taco Bell's always the brunt of jokes and everything like that.
yeah,
It's like I actually like Taco Bell. It's perfectly fine for what you want,
yeah.
which is like just cheap, not very good, like
Cheap, not very good, not quite Mexican
light
food.
fast food,
Yeah,
like approximation of Mexican food.
it's Chef
I mean, look,
Boyardee Mexican.
look, they always have like at most I think it's like a $10 like Lux box.
hmm
So I will always get that because
Yeah,
it's like a taco, like a chalupa, like a burrito, something like that.
yeah.
Which I'm sure it's like 8,000 calories or something
It's
ridiculous, but
it's 1,200.
it's a lot. But I mean, my kids, well, at least my oldest child loves the like the mixed like black beans and rice.
hmm
But she's little. She's not even 7,
Yeah.
but she eats like a teenage boy sometimes. So when I go, I
Yeah.
have to buy. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I need to buy three. I buy three of them.
Yeah.
They're not big. They're like this big. But I used to be like I would buy one, maybe two.
Yeah.
I buy three now. The other day because we went like 2 weeks ago, and I bought her three, and she devoured all of them. She's like, I'm still hungry. Like, do you have
Yeah.
another one? I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
bought three.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
There was a time with my oldest child where he loved bean burritos, but I was worried that how can I best put this? I got him one in the car, which I know is a bold move. And I look back there and I see heresy happening because my child has taken his burrito and he is not eating his burrito. He has taken it and he is just eating out of the middle of it. And I'm like,
Oh,
"What are
taste
you
it.
doing? What are you why? What are you doing?"
My youngest child like does not eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that she does not just rip open and makes open face and then just like I'm like this is not how you eat this. Which I wouldn't
Open
care except for
face
the fact
peanut
that it's
butter
just like
sandwich.
jelly and peanut butter everywhere.
Okay, yeah,
And it's
that's
like
also
she's not
fair.
it's like look, you're not like a baby. You're a 6-month baby.
Yeah,
Like you're
you
now 3.
yeah, you
We
can
don't
do better.
yeah.
So,
She will eat the quesadilla. Like she'll eat the quesadilla at Taco Bell.
mhm,
But I didn't know this because if you get it, I never really got the quesadilla.
mhm.
Generally, if you get it, it comes. You have to ask for it if you're giving it to your kid. You have to ask for it like non-spicy
No sauce
because
on it, yeah.
they apparently put they apparently put like a jalapeno
A
because we
jalapeno
got it
sauce
for
on
her
it,
and
yeah.
she took a bite and it's like she's like spicy. I'm like what? No, it's a cheese quesadilla. And then I tasted it. I'm like oh, it actually is
Yeah.
spicy.
It's like, wow, that's not what I expected. Um,
Yeah.
Disclosure, no, Brad's not sick that we know of. Brad was just taking some time off. So while Brad is away, we are going to amok. But
Mm.
we did kind of keep to the standard format this week. We've got a match of the week. We've got some topics we're going to get into. And sorry you're not seeing this live, so we can't banter with chat, but hopefully you enjoy it
Mm.
anyway. And speaking of, we can just go ahead and start with the match of the week. I went into my playlist and just grabbed something that I thought was out of the ordinary from what we've done and a little interesting. And so what I got was okay, now I got to look to make sure that I have the year right because now I'm
I
having
know
this
because
moment. It's
I can tell you they even said it.
they did. It was from
I
19 sold
forgot.
out 1998
Yeah,
for the
it's
WCW
sold out.
TV title.
Yeah, I sold out is I believe like the February
Yeah.
1998 pay per view. It was always in February, I think.
hmm
Uh, and I when you proposed this, like I remembered this feud and Rick Martel's all too brief. like
Yeah.
stay in WCW, but it was really good. And then of
Yeah.
course he got injured. And that was
Yeah.
pretty much all she wrote for
So
his
this
career.
is
But
this is from February, sold out 1998 for the television title Booker T versus Rick Martel. Like this is early in Booker T's singles run, and he's got the TV title. And Rick Martel had been around for a little bit. I remember when he showed up on TV, and I asked my wrestling buddy in high school. I'm like, okay, this name's familiar, and he goes, yeah, he was the model Rick Martel. And I'm like, okay, and he was like, he was a mid card guy in the WWF, and he had his eau de arrogance spray, but it was like instead of it being in a perfume bottle, it was like in an old school Terminator, like um, exterminator, like bug spray can, and because God, and he had a big button on his blazer that said, "Yes, I am a model," because I don't know, people would forget or something. But he showed up and he was doing like the super white meat baby face kind of stuff. Rick Martel comes in and he is smiley and he is talking about how hard he's training and how he wants to make his mark and win a title, and he's working out really hard and dieting really hard. For some reason, the phrase dieting really hard stuck in my head because he used it a lot. And I'm like, okay. And he gets this match with Booker. It sold out. And this match goes for about 13 minutes. And it is it is kind of an anomaly for most wrestling, I think is fair to say, because this is a face versus face match. And you don't typically have face versus face matches unless there's certain circumstances. Tournaments, you may have that happen, but typically in wrestling, you have a face and a heel. You have someone to cheer for and someone to hate. But in this case, we had two faces. Um, Rick Martel had been backing Booker T up whenever, uh, sorry, excuse me, people tried to run in or something like that. So they're both established as faces, and this match is a little. Um, what would you say, Matt? What was the vibe for this one?
it, I mean, I actually liked the dynamic of face versus face here. How do I describe it? Martel to me came off as like more of a veteran, which he was. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, in '98, like he had been wrestling. I mean, we've seen some old school matches he had, even like, well, I don't know if it was Brad might have been Continental, but I remember like we saw. I think it was stuff where it was like Martel and was it Piper teaming together against people. Like we saw some
That
early '80s, maybe even
sounds
late
right.
'70s stuff, but early '80s, and of course he. It was a shame a little bit that
Mm-hmm.
he was just a mid carder in the WWF. I mean, he stayed
Yeah,
around for years,
yeah,
so he had like a really good long run. And that's back when it wasn't. You'd go to the Fed, the WWE or WWF at that point, and spend 15, 20 years like some
yeah,
guys have.
yeah,
But he was there a long time. He was there like really close to a decade,
yeah, something like that.
around that, which is like a long time for back then. But he was in the AWA before, and he was the champion. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, we just saw the we just last week we just saw the Hanson Slaughter match. I'm pretty sure Martel may have been the person that Hanson actually beat for the title,
Oh
like
yeah,
'85 or so.
I think that's
Which the
I think Hanson tapped him out with that Boston Crab that Hanson did, didn't he?
Yeah,
And
I think so.
that's why Martel started using it as his finish, is this kind of weird. Well, fine, I'll take it and I'll just do it myself kind of thing.
Yeah. So he was a world champion in another promotion, and had a good long run, but he was definitely like a veteran. And
Yeah,
Booker T was not as if he was like not a veteran, but I mean, even at '98, he had been in the wrestling business, well, certainly less than Martel. And
yeah,
to me, the vibe was almost kind of like Martel was coming in, and I thought Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary did a good job of kind of establishing like he's coming in like he wants gold, he wants the championship. He's been a champion before. He wants to hold gold again.
Right.
And so Martel was really working Booker T against trying to get one over on Booker T and win the title.
Mm-hmm.
And Booker T was kind of like the young upstart. They actually did a good job of the commentary talking about how like well he's been a multiple time tag champion, but now he's doing some single stuff and he's got the gold like he wants to really like see how far he goes as a champion. I thought that they did just through commentary alone.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job of setting up that that's kind of like to me it's their face versus face, but it's like you have like the veteran face. He still has something to prove,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the young the young lion, not quite young lion, but the young champion who's just now getting into singles, trying to make a name for himself as a
Yeah.
singles. He's got the belt. He wants to keep the belt, and they go from there. And I thought the dynamic was good. They throughout the course of the match, you didn't see one of those like subtle heel turns from either guy.
You saw Martel
I didn't
start to get a
see.
little vicious because he was
Yes, but
frustrated, but
yeah,
you didn't see him start healing it up big.
yeah, and Booker T certainly did it because there was a moment where it looked like Martel caught like a blow a little low, not quite like a crotch shot,
Mm-hmm.
but it was kind of low, and he's like hurt. And Booker T like you see him like should I go for the kill? And then he like hesitates, backs up because it's like he's being the bigger man. He's being sportsmanlike. It's like, nah, man, I don't want to lose it that way. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to actually like get this guy recover, and then we go at it, which I
So
thought was good. It
yeah.
that it established him a character work,
Mm-hmm.
showing that he's an upstanding, face champion. Like he's gonna win this on the merits, and he's gonna actually show that he's the better man, like in the ring, because it's like, no, I'm not gonna just take a cheap shot,
Yeah.
cheap advantage. I want to actually like fight this guy on his own terms and
Yeah.
overcome him
I want
that
to
way.
prove that I can win straight up.
Mm.
The spot that they did that with, when I was writing stuff down, I almost
Mm.
said it was this planned, like a creative idea, or were they making the best out of something weird? But as it went on, I'm like, oh, okay, this was a really creative idea they had for this spot, because what they did is Martel whips Booker into the ropes, and when Booker comes back, it looks like they're going to do the duck down leapfrog spot, but Martel
Yeah,
doesn't get up very high. And so Booker's shoulder hits him in his really lower abdomen. It's one of
yeah,
those where it's not quite low enough for you to call it the low blow, and Martel's in the corner, and like you said, Booker doesn't just
yeah.
dive on him.
Did they call it a bread basket in the bread basket, or is that just like
They Heenan
that's
might
what
have
the
said got him right in the breadbasket. Yeah,
Gorilla Monsoon would have definitely like used
yeah.
that back in the day.
And you're right.
Um,
The commentary did a great job in this match, kind of keeping the structure of the story
ex-
around it.
except for the beginning, when there was like a weird like acrimonious like animosity banter between Dusty Rhodes and Bobby Heenan,
Yeah, they were picking at
with
each
Tony
other.
kind of trying to play like peacemaker. Yeah, and it was like
That was
weird,
kind of
but
odd, you know.
I'd
But
have to go. I'd have to watch the show to see if like it was based on something like
oh wait, no,
nitpicky.
I know
If they,
exactly what it was. Now that I stop and think about it, I know exactly what it was because what happened. This was the sold out, and they mention it in the commentary where Scott Hall is facing Larry
Zabisco.
Zabisco. Zabisco brought Dusty as backup because the NWO does stuff, and Dusty turned on Zabisco to join the NWO. That's where this came from.
Oh,
That
so
was this
at this point,
show.
I know that Dusty had joined the NWO at some point.
Yeah.
Like, oh, does he join it later in the pay per view?
No, he sold out this show. Yeah, it's later in the show because
Okay.
when Zabisco goes out to face Scott Hall, he brought backup. Here comes Hall, and Hall's all pissed off about it. And Zabisco's like, I'm not an idiot. I brought backup. And he calls
Mhm.
Dusty up. And they're having the match, and Dusty Bonnick elbows him and takes off his button up shirt, and he's got the NWO shirt because everybody had to join the freaking NWO. God, it was exhausting. But this was foreshadowing for that. Dusty picking at people and so on and so forth. The match goes, and after Booker doesn't go in for the kill, Martel takes a minute, and when Booker does close in, Martel reaches up and grabs his tights and pulls him into the turnbuckle. Not really as a heelish thing, it's just like the best move at the time, the best opportunities got available. And the match went from we're trading arm ringers in the beginning, because they did a lot of arm work, to Booker T is beating the piss out of Rick Martel because he hits the Harlem sidekick, he hits the scissor kick before it was his finish, all this sort of stuff. And then after that spot, Martel takes over, and Martel starts working the back. And what does commentary do? They're talking about he's setting up for his Quebec crab. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. And we get to this spot at the end of the match where Martel is like he's going into it, but commentary selling that Booker's keeping his legs straight so Martel can't rock back on it. And so Booker gets into the ropes. And I can't remember if this was a weird thing where Martel, whenever he did the Boston Crab, didn't really rock back on it, or if that was just kind of a common people fighting it spot. That's in my brain somewhere. I'm not sure where. He goes for it there. Booker gets out. And I don't remember what Booker does to take back over, but then they go into the finish. Um, and I'm pausing for Matt to say anything here if he wants to, or I can just talk about the finish.
The finish, she does the what,
Harlem Hangover.
what was the finisher? Harlem Hangover. Um, which I don't feel like he does like the axe kick to get him down, but
He did a sidewalk slam to put him down.
oh yeah, sorry, he did an axe kick, and then there was a sidewalk slam to get him like in position,
Yeah.
and then he does the Harlem Hangover, which I thought I've seen him do it better, felt, but it was the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Um, I thought it was a good match. Uh, I don't know what. I know we always like we don't like you know do ratings really on this show, but we always do. I feel like we always like kind of like I give it this. I'd probably give it like I don't know what you think, like 3 stars,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think that'd probably be. It's definitely above average. It's solid.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I think hurt this match, and this
Mm.
is kind of the downfall of face versus face matches, is unless you're very intentional about what you're doing, the crowd doesn't know who to get behind. And the crowd is quiet for a lot of this match. They just don't respond to a lot of stuff over the course of this. And I'll admit, I'm kind of irritated. I'm watching this, and I'm like, they're having a pretty good match. And the crowd's like, I mean, they're paying attention. They're there, but they're not doing anything until Booker starts firing up. And then they start getting behind Booker. But it goes up and it fades and it goes up. And I'm like, what are we doing with the. And they go into the finish, and Martel takes the belt away from the ref. And they're like, oh, what's happening here? Martel takes the belt away to give it to Booker as a good sportsmanship thing. And then raises his hand, and then Booker raises Martel's hand. So we've got this face-face dynamic, but the crowd isn't sure how to react to it. And so the match itself is good, but it suffers from the crowd not being able to buy in like you would hope. And that's kind of the risk on face versus face matches. Some of them are fine. I mean, we reviewed that Sting versus Diamond Dallas Page that was in Louisville match. That was a face versus face match. In the course of it, Page expressed frustration and that sort of stuff, which led him to being slightly heelish for it. I mean, not really, but Page versus Goldberg at Halloween Havoc is a face versus face match. Straight up. They can work, but this one it wasn't landing the same way. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Martel is new in the company at the time. Booker is new to doing single stuff. and so their dynamics, the crowd expectations aren't really set, um,
When
and I
did
think the reaction suffered for it.
when did Martel get injured? Because I don't think he was in WCW long. I
No,
like memory like fades as time goes by because we're talking about something that happened almost 30 years ago.
so I
But
looked this up a little while back,
mm,
and I'm gonna look it up again. I remember the circumstances for it. What happened was they had this match, and it was fine. It was a good match. And then what they did is they had what it was going to be is he won the TV title on Nitro, and then it was going to be Rick Martel versus Booker T, and then the winner immediately faces Perry Saturn. And the original plan was Martel was going to win both of them. Why? Because they want to establish him as a mid card guy. He's
yeah,
smart. I mean, he's got a great look. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. They want to establish
yeah,
him as a mid card guy.
that's that's an underrated thing that we didn't talk about. Like he's in fantastic shape here. Like he was when he was in the WWF,
Hmm.
he was a big guy. Like I mean, that's like we've talked about this before. The kind of perception as a there were guys in the WWF who were gigantic.
Yeah,
Like relatively, even compared to like normal human beings, like your average person, they were like 6'4", 6'5", like 280 pounds.
yeah,
Martel looked a lot smaller than them, and he was always kind of presented as like smaller than them.
yeah.
But in real life, he's probably like over 200 pounds, like probably like 6'2"
They
something. He's
build
big.
him as his build height. His build weight was 230. His build height was 6 feet, which means he was
Okay.
probably 5'10", probably around 200, which is fine. I
All
mean,
right.
that's not like it's a
But
small dude.
yeah, it's still a relatively good sized guy, and he was well built. Like
Hmm.
when he was, I mentioned the WWF because like he was solid. He probably did weigh a little closer to 230 because he was much like all the other guys. Like might
Yeah.
have been well. But here he looked leaner,
Yeah.
but he was like cut. Like
Hmm.
not that he had like washboard abs, but he kind of like he like very good definition,
Yeah.
and everything. So he came in like a great shape. Was clearly working hard
Yeah.
for the time he was there. And I agree, like he would have been a really good hand to have in the mid card because that
Um,
was something that at the time, like WCW was almost like undefeated at. Like the NWO stuff by '98 was already like wearing thin, in my opinion.
yeah.
But the mid card was always like solid. You'd always have like guys tearing up in the mid card. And I looked at this card. This was the fourth match in the show. The first three matches,
Hmm.
not in this order, but I'll go do backwards order. It was Chris Jericho versus Rey Mysterio. Sure, that was
Jericho
great.
won. That's what started Jericho's heel run, is because I think that was the
Yeah,
match where he took the toolbox to Mysterio's knee.
yeah. Chris Benoit versus Raven. Raven's rules match. Uh, and then you had a luchador match, which was Juventud, Super Calo, Liz Mark Jr., and Chavo Jr. versus La Parca, Psychosis, Silver King, and El Dandy.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure all those matches were like fantastic, and it's like yeah, that's what you get. You get like like really, really, really good mid card stuff,
Yeah.
oftentimes from like cruiserweights or luchadors, but still. So anyway, not to digress, but
Yeah.
he came in. He was going to be established as a mid card guy, which in retrospect is a great decision.
Yeah. So what happened in that match that he had with Booker? Because I saw him do the shoot interview with it. Booker's going to hip toss him out of the corner, but something happens, and instead of taking a step and hip tossing him, Booker takes a step and then kind of shuffles. And when he hip tosses him, he goes further than he intended. And the WCW rings were a little smaller, and he hits his leg on the rope in the far corner, and tore a ligament in his right knee. Hang on, tore a ligament, fractured his leg, and did cartilage damage. Like,
Oof.
because he came down, and whenever he hit, if I remember correctly, his leg hooked over the rope as his body was going down. Like it didn't look bad, but it was bad. And he had one match after that against Stevie Ray, and he was like, "No, I'm done." Which I get. you get not having a match with Stevie Ray makes you retire, but you do the
Hmm.
work to come back and you go out there and you get in the ring and you go, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is not going to get better. So
Yeah, I mean, everyone says like, and you would know you were actually you did it in the ring. Like everyone has like their bump card, and maybe yours wasn't like yours hadn't expired. I know you left because you had actual like
yeah,
injuries, but I mean, sometimes people know. It's like, yeah, no. And at that point, let me look how. Let me look to see when Rick Martel was born. So he's born in '56. So at this point in '92, and not sorry '92, '98, he would have been he would have been 42.
hmm
Uh, so he probably was like, yeah, I'm in my 40s. Which and this is also crazy because like think about how things have changed. They're guys in their 40s now. Like Omega is the champion in AEW,
yeah,
and he's I think 42.
I
I
think
think
so.
around there. Guys are just. I think guys are healthier now.
They also
In the
know
style.
better on how to take
Yeah.
care of themselves.
Yeah.
That was one thing I noticed when I was wrestling is before matches, I was the only guy in the back stretching. And what did I always stretch? Did martial arts for so long. What do you do before you go do stuff? You stretch. And I was the only one stretching or warming up. And I'm like, what? How? What? What? All right. But I would say that part of it is probably Martel goes out there, has the match, and then he's just like, nope, I can't do it on this knee. Like, it's not going to get better than it is right now. I'm not going to improve more than where I'm at. I'm done. And I get that. There's a lot to be said for knowing when to hang it up. So props to him. But this was a good match that I think the match dynamic screwed with the crowd. That's where I think I would put it.
It was solid. I'm glad we did this one. I remember his brief run.
hmm
Uh, and again, memory fades because I felt like it. I knew it was short, but I felt it lasted longer. But it was probably like I think just a matter of weeks. I think it was actually pretty short.
I think it
But
was a couple of months, maybe.
it still left an impression on me. So like I remember it fondly. I remember his because to me it was like it was a surprise for him to show up, and then he was doing such a great job. It was he didn't last, but it's when we reviewed that 91 92 pay-per-view where like Greg the Hammer Valentine suddenly appears
Uh huh.
and he's like facing Bagwell, and he actually had like a good match with
Yeah.
Bagwell, and it's like, oh, like the last place I expected him to appear
Yeah.
here,
So
and he's doing a good job.
I did a quick check. Martel debuted on the January 5th episode of Nitro in '98, and then Super Brawl. Okay, so Super Brawl was February 22nd.
Maybe sold out was March.
No, sold out. Sold out was I think in January,
Mm,
January 24th. Yeah,
okay.
in
Okay,
Dayton.
I had my months mixed up there.
Yeah, no, I for some reason I always thought sold out was in February as well, and then Super Brawl in March. But I don't guess it matters that much. He did that, and then the thing with Booker, the injury was February 22nd. So six
Wow.
weeks to a month, that
Yeah.
he was there, and that's a shame. It's I think that barring that injury, he would have had you know plenty in the tank to work with, and been a really good guy for up and comers to work with. And I think that was part of the benefit for Booker was Booker's working on this single stuff now, and so having this experienced guy for him to work with regularly will help him flesh out his game. I kind of think that maybe that's why he ended up with that weird thing with that three-way feud with Voldemort and Fit Finley later on. But yeah, interesting match. It is on YouTube. on the WCW channel. Not hard to find, and like I said, interesting match to watch. So, in the past, I don't know, a couple of weeks, there has been how do we put that? There, yeah, I guess it was in the last week. There's been kind of this discourse going around about what good faith criticism is of wrestling shows. Um, One of the things that it, at least to me, seems to be predominantly whether or not AEW criticism is good faith or not. Uh, why do we say that? Well, because Fed criticism just kind of happens, and it's not like people are like, no, but AEW criticism gets pushback, and I think part of that just comes from the fact that there's been a lot of bad faith criticism, quote unquote, of AEW. It's just as opposed to people who go, look, I like this company. I want it to do well. I think this stuff is wrong.
I wanted to talk about the subject just because, well, one, there was a rant from Brian Alvarez, which we'll get into, about because he made criticisms about it, and that's kind of what got me thinking. And that for a couple days, it was like the discourse, the topic du
Mm-hmm.
jour of wrestling Twitter. But and of course, like all the usual anti AEW haters are like,
Yeah.
see, like you can't say anything bad about AEW, and it's like I want to talk about generally because it's like, why are AEW fans, like diehard fans, so reflexively? Do they so strongly reflexively like push back against
Mm-hmm.
it? Because they do. I will say, like I'm like a very staunch AEW fan,
Yeah.
and I am resistant to criticism, but I'm also I'm like I. It's gonna sound immodest to say like, well, I'm smart about it. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying like I stop and I think and see who's saying it, what is the criticism, where is it coming from?
Mm-hmm.
I actually stop and think versus just like knee jerk, knee jerk, knee jerk.
Yeah.
But why there pushback? Yes, there is. There's always pushback from AEW fans. But why is that? And I think it's a twofold thing. One, it's the obvious one. It's like, why is it? It's because we've talked about it on the show for the last like how many years at this point?
Seven
It's
years at this
almost
point.
almost since the very beginning. Like I mean, from the very beginning, you had people, especially like old wrestling fans, who were like, "No, this will never work. Won't work. Like you're not gonna get another
They'll
like team
close in
to
six
challenge."
months. They'll.
Yeah, yeah. It was that which it didn't do, but and they were Meltzer's talked about this where he's kind of made it or intimated that partly in his opinion, that it's like these people were wrong, being like, oh, they're going to close in 6 months, and they didn't. So now it's like, well, I got to double
Yeah.
down and prove my still relevancy. Especially he's talking about people like Eric Bischoff and some other people who were going to, oh no, like they've been around forever, and it's like, oh, they'll close, and then they didn't. So they now have to double down and triple down and keep going with it because they're old and they can't be like, well, I'm out of touch with wrestling. They want to still be relevant or still want to,
Yeah.
cash a paycheck or get money from somebody for their views on wrestling, even though it's like your heyday was maybe in the 80s or 90s, like 30 to 40 years ago. But they want to be like, gosh darn it, I'm still relevant. I know what's going on. I'll tell you how to succeed.
Yeah.
And they have to triple down now, quadruple down, just keep going on. Just tweet through it. Keep tweeting through it.
Mm-hmm.
Always tweet through it. Worried about what you tweeted? That's okay. The only solution: tweet some more. Like,
Keep
just
pushing.
keep going.
Just got to keep pushing. It'll
Keep
land on
pushing
black sooner or
because
later, right?
yeah, it's like, well, I got to be right. It's like that's. I mean, that's been that way from the beginning. But what you really saw was a cottage industry. It's definitely a cottage industry of people who it's now not. It has not been for the last few years.
Yeah.
Just like AEW. It's everything AEW sucks. And
Mm-hmm.
Jim Cornette's really bad about this. After, the latest episode of Dynamite, it's like, let's fire up the podcast. I'm going to dissect. I'm gonna tell you everything they did wrong and why every segment sucked.
Yeah.
And it's like y'all watch AEW Dynamite and then at the time Rampage and Collision. These people watch it like more than me. You watch
Yeah.
it with more than a fine-tooth comb than me.
Yeah.
Like I will watch Dynamite. I'm usually behind, like weeks behind. So oftentimes I will watch it, and sometimes I'll watch it on fast forward. I'm like, I don't
And
know that I need to see like
yeah,
this
I don't
conglomeration.
particularly care about this segment.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like, I haven't gotten to it there, but people were raving about it, so I'll use an example like, Speedball Mike Bailey versus uh, Monkzilla, like for the AEW
Yeah,
national
Mark
title. It's like,
Davis,
yeah, Mark
really
Davis.
good.
Like, let me watch this.
Hmm.
But if it's like the conglomeration versus Shane Taylor Promotions, no offense to Shane Taylor Promotions, like they're actually doing a great job, and actually they've done some interesting stuff in the last couple months with the Death Riders a little bit. But I'm using this as an example. But it's like
Yeah,
if I a conglomeration match where it's like 6 man with Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong,
Kyle O'Reilly.
O'Reilly against like the infantry and Lee Moriarty. It's like if I'm pressed for time, it's like guys, I'm sorry, you're all good workers, but
Oh
I could
yeah,
fast forward this eight. I could fast forward this 8 minute match,
like
or
Cassidy's one
or
of
if
my
it's like
favorite guys, but if it's a match where it's just like if it's a foregone conclusion match, then it's kind of like
yeah,
I rarely miss an episode of Dynamite, and so I don't watch it back often. But if I did, foregone conclusion matches would be one of the things that I would hop through before anything else. Um, not I'm not hating, but there's not a an ongoing. There's not going to be lasting consequences out of that segment.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So there are times I will fast forward that. You know, I wish I had time to every segment, but we'll get to this later. It's like I'm not getting paid
Yeah,
to like watch Dynamite. Uh, so I don't watch it on fast forward. I can watch on fast forward because I'm not actually do a show where I'm in like intricately reviewing every single second
detailed
talking about
feedback
it. But anyway,
stuff. Yeah,
yes. But these guys, it's been a cottage industry of everything AEW is bad, everything they do is wrong. Here's why all the characters suck. Here is why all the work at the action. Oh, that match you think is 5 stars that Meltzer rated 5 stars. Actually, it was dog shit. It's terrible. Like everything bad.
yeah.
Oh, and also, they're definitely like this contract gonna get canceled until they
Oh
got
God. Okay, we're doing.
another contract with a big renewal,
Yeah.
to the point where Meltzer, who again, I don't want to. I'm gonna make a loaded comment, and I don't mean anything by it, but it's like I don't know that Dave Meltzer is neurodivergent or anything like that. But if I had to guess, like maybe a little, because everyone's like a little bit right. His fixation, and it has been for like 30, 40 years,
Hmm.
is numbers, 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 numbers,
Yeah.
ratings numbers, financial numbers, attendance numbers.
Yeah.
Like the man is like obsessive
He's a
with
Rolodex
numbers.
of that stuff.
Yes, and he intricately reviews all this stuff. So he has gone forward and hypothesized, and also with raw data said like, no, this is what I'm seeing with like information that I have. And he would have information where he's like, no, AEW is profitable because he doesn't know exactly how much money they're spending on everything like that, but based upon publicly available information with regards to like production like costs and all this sort of thing, like it's probably costing them this amount. They're getting this amount just from like the TV rights.
Yeah.
So the TV rights are like this number, and the estimated cost of everything is like this number. So like just on this, it's like
Yeah.
there's a disparity. If the money you're bringing in is higher than the money you're putting out, guess what? You're making profit, and that's on top of like
And
merchandise,
the thing that
other rights that they're getting, like
yeah,
international TV rights or pay-per-view money, like any of that stuff.
yeah. And the other piece that goes into that is also that when you ask Tony Khan, he uses the word revenue. He doesn't use the word profit. Why? because he takes that stuff that would be profit and rolls it back into the company. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, we've paid off everything. Now we have this extra money. Am I just going to keep it? Nope, I got enough. We're putting it back into the company. And so
And he's a
that's why
bit
he doesn't say profit.
people still don't understand Tony Khan on many levels, but even beyond the fact that they just think again, they're still it's 7 years in, and they're still going with like, oh, he's just a money mark. It's like, well, then he's the most successful money
Yeah,
mark, pretty much in like
yeah.
in the history of the wrestling business.
He does not fit the definition of a money mark.
No,
If
which as as an aside, it's like if he's just a money mark, then you also should be like want to shake his hand, kiss his feet because he's a money mark he's a billionaire who was been a wrestling fan since he was at least like a teenager and
Mhm.
decided like, you know what I'm gonna do with my billions of dollars. Like, I mean, I guess you could be like, well, why does he just like, help solve world hunger, whatever. But like, okay,
and
fair. But
it's
he at least
yeah,
is like, my passion is pro wrestling.
hmm
I'm gonna fund like a pro wrestling company and give us amazing like wrestling content, and it has for years now,
yeah,
going on like close to a decade. It's like there are better, there are far, 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 far worse uses of someone's money
hmm
i- than giving like people good content, wrestling content for something that he likes.
yeah,
Anyway, uh, they don't understand him that he's first and foremost a businessman who has beyond like pro wrestling is actually in like two different pro sports worlds, like the Fulham
yeah,
Soccer Club and the Jacksonville Jaguars, of which again they also like to try and act like he's just like a daddy's boy who just like his rich dad gave him like something. Oh, to keep yourself busy with this. It's like no,
yeah.
he's actually involved in the operation of both of those
I know he
franchises.
was. I don't know if he still is a lot because he's. I don't think he's still running the data analytics thing he was because he's running AEW so much. But I don't know.
He
I could be
still
wrong.
owns it at least.
Yeah,
He still owns that, and people again also like, well, it's his dad's money. It's like no, you don't. No, you don't understand. Like he himself is worth at least hundreds of millions of
yeah,
dollars because of his his role in the Jaguars and in Fulham, AEW, and also like the data analytics company. I think he has other companies too, but that the data analytics company too like makes money.
yeah,
Like the valuation of all these things together, he's worth at least a few hundred million,
yeah,
if not like $1 billion, just himself. Let alone like whatever wealth that the family has, which he will one day inherit,
yeah.
him and any other siblings he have. I think he has like a sister. Uh, but he's first and foremost, he's a businessman, and so he's obviously AEW and wrestling is his passion project, but he runs it like a business,
Yeah.
and you can see that with the way that he handles the workers, a lot of people on staff. You hear he doesn't make a big deal about it. It's not a press release, whatever. But you hear after the fact that it's like, oh yeah, like Eddie Kingston. It's like, oh yeah, I had issues with my insurance prior to getting surgery.
Yeah.
Tony Khan took care of it.
That killed me.
And took
That
care of it, meaning
story
like
absolutely
took
killed
care
me.
of it, meaning like how much is Eddie's surgery? No worries. Like here's the
Paid
check.
for. Yeah.
Like of course, like I'm not going to let the man like not have the surgery and
Yeah.
pay for it. And other people, like people, the, there's so much disingenuous bullshit
Yeah.
with regards to him and AEW. Like there, for example, I'll use a recent one. It's very sad, but Rebel, who used to be on TV,
Yeah.
was with former TNA wrestler,
Yeah.
was with AEW, was started off I think as a hairdresser, but then got linked up with Britt Baker, was on TV, wrestled some.
Yeah.
She's been out, she's been off TV for a while. Of course, Britt Baker has, but she was having health issues for like the last like couple years. Couldn't went through the whole saga of like trying to get it diagnosed, like what was wrong with her. I think she even got diagnosed like eventually like with some type of cancer. That wasn't the worst issue. The worst issue is recently she got, I mean this year, like a couple months back, got
Yeah.
diagnosed with end
ALS.
stage ALS, Lou Gehrig's
Yeah.
disease, end stage. Which I'm like, how is that different than regular ALS? It's basically just like you're in the final stages of ALS,
Yeah,
because
it's
ALS it can progress quickly, oftentimes does, but sometimes if you're lucky, they catch it and you have a few years. In stage, you don't.
no.
You have like months.
Yeah, her clock's running down.
And she when I follow her on social media, and it's distressing
Yeah,
because she did a video like when she announced like the diagnosis, and within that time, like you can kind of see like it's already
yeah,
starting to go further downhill.
yeah.
And but I bring all that up as backstory to say that AEW put out a shirt like for Rebel, and it's basically any all the money that goes for buying the shirt goes towards like I don't think it's specifically like her medical
No,
fund, but I
I
think
think
it's
it's
like for
ALS Foundation,
ALS.
and the
Yes,
AEW like roster is reviving the Ice Bucket Challenge too,
they're doing that. Yeah, for
and
her,
yeah, specifically
and
for
not just like a random like, oh, here's like your C-list person. Like I think isn't Mox going to be doing it?
hmm.
Like everyone's
Mox
Chris
helped
Statlander just
Renee
did
do
it.
hers.
Yeah,
Um,
Chris.
Stat did one. I haven't kept track of all of them. I just kind of see them as they come along.
They've done a few, but they're
Yeah,
doing I think like a whole bunch more.
and as
Uh, Good.
another log on the fire with that, because there have been multiple people who had the Eddie Kingston experience. Like, God, I got hurt and I got all this, and Tony Khan's like, don't worry about it, I'll cover it. The private party, Tony Khan told them, he goes, if you guys want to go to college, I will pay for that, and you will still have a job here if that's something you want to do. And you, it's not like they run out. It's not like they trumpet it and tell it everywhere. But you'll have an interview with
Mhm.
somebody, and then they'll tell the story. It's like, hey, TK just did this, and there you go. It's he has built a company that is now self-sustaining, and he's taking care of the people that work there.
To
And part of
to the extent. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and well, what I was going to do was say part of the reason that fans, especially diehard fans, get so defensive is for years we have had the worst faith arguments. What happened at the very beginning? What was the criticism? Oh, it's all friends wrestling. It's like, how is that a bad thing? If you're buddies with the guys you're working with, then you trust them and you're going to do cool stuff. Why? Because you want to do cool stuff with your buddies. And, the idea of Dean Ambrose is the best member of the Shield. Oh, John Moxley, the plumber guy, is out there wrestling. It's like, oh, come on. This bad faith criticism where I am just trying to come up with any kind of negative thing that I can figure out to say, and it's blazingly apparent that
It is the most disingenuous bad
yes,
faith. I brought up Rebel because all to say AEW and Tony Khan have like fully like tried to back her. Tony Khan is still like paying her salary, paying her medical bills,
yeah,
and they're doing this fundraiser stuff. I literally saw people online make the argument. Oh, look at this. Tony Khan like won't even pay like her medical bills. Like she's having to do a fundraiser it's like that's the most bullshit argument,
yeah.
and it's a lie.
It's
But
they're not reading it.
People trying to get clout and be like, look at this.
Yeah,
Like he won't even pay. It's like it's completely wrong.
yeah.
It's completely wrong and inaccurate. But they
And
don't care. And
no, they don't read it. Because the money from the shirt is going to the LS Foundation. It's not going directly to Rebel because her stuff's being handled. And one of the worst bad faith actors on this, I'm going to point out, is freaking Bubba Ray. Because
oh my god.
he'll go and bust it open radio. They don't, and I'm sorry, I'm borrowing a bit from Flagship. They don't tell stories, man. There's no beginning, middle, and end. It's like, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. You say that, obviously not watching the product. I don't know. What do you want me to point to? How about I go with two Hangman Page storylines that both of them were long-term 2-year things. His first initial arc to winning the title, then his second one, heel turn, crazy Hangman, and then his redemption arc. What about that? What about the EVP Bucks and they're like, we abuse our power, now we're the broke Bucks, now we find our way back, and that sort of like.
They're
And I know I'm
constantly
just
telling
doing
stories.
elite stuff, but
Yeah, I know.
there it is such a disingenuous bullshit thing that
People,
is why
people,
fans push back on criticism so hard.
the the obviously the main event for All In a few weeks is Kenny Omega as the champion against Will Ospreay, and it's got to come out that it's looking like they were gonna have, because they just randomly, all of a sudden in July had this Montreal, Canada uh,
Yeah.
pay-per-view where it would have been MJF versus Omega, and it was so obvious that Omega was going to win the title then.
Yeah.
But it's come out behind the scenes that MJF pushed for it earlier, which I think because he's legit has injured his knee,
Mm.
and it seemed like it was, you thought like it was okay, but it maybe is actually like a little worse than people thought. Uh,
And it
which if
gives
it
Kenny
was
a
a quick
longer reign.
recovery, yeah. But people were like, well, why isn't it MJF? And they try to be like, well, maybe MJF could be like in a three-way at All In with. It's like I swear I had a point to this. The point is that this is like they tell stories. If you don't understand that this has been the story all the way, and this for weeks, months, it's been planned. How do you know this? Because you have Osprey being like, oh, like I don't know, maybe I need that killer edge to actually like, get myself ahead. So he joins in with the Death Riders, and evil John Moxley and the Death Riders mentoring him, and you would see these backstage segments where Omega's trying to like be his mentor and kind of talk to him. It doesn't happen every week because they don't beat you over the head with it, but maybe every 2-3 weeks, you have an interaction with Omega and,
Yeah.
and Osprey, because it's like, yeah, that's the storyline. The story, it's always going to be like Kenny Omega, the good mentor, the angel on the shoulder, versus John Moxley, the devil on the shoulder. And what sort of person is Osprey going to be? Is he going to like shed Moxley? Is he going to win the title and then shed the Death Riders, and then you're going to see like Moxley versus Osprey at All Out,
Yeah.
and like Osprey overcomes, or what are you going to see? What are you going to see? I don't know, but they've been leading to that match. They've been building that match for weeks. If you pay attention,
Yeah.
it's a story that they've been telling. And some people are like, I don't like Osprey with Death Riders, and then there are people who are
Yeah.
criticizing as an
Okay.
aside that it's like, oh, I think Osprey's like lost like a lot of his like aura and like excitement. He feels cold, and it's like, I don't quite feel that, but I'm sympathetic to that. But point is, like, there's stories. But
Hmm.
Bubba's an idiot. I don't
Yeah.
like. But Bubba should not be listened to under any circumstances in general,
No.
because he's a dick and an idiot, like a
Yeah.
legit idiot. But you should not listen to anything he says about AEW after he again starts talking about like, here's my brilliant ideas. One of his brilliant ideas to get John Moxley over as a heel was to have him be like in a backstage segment with Renee, and then he like snaps and almost acts like he's gonna strike,
Yeah.
like commit spousal abuse against Renee.
Yeah.
And Bubba's brilliant idea is like, oh, now you've made him as a heel, people are gonna like really hate him. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This isn't
What
like
what makes you think
98.
Moxley needs
Like,
your help getting
this
over as
isn't
a
like
heel?
1998, 99, like WWE,
Yeah.
where you're putting like women through tables
Yeah.
and like a sick fan base. It's like, yeah, it's great. Like, no,
Yeah.
that's horrible and the
Let's
dumbest
take
idea.
something that is a felony and use it as a storyline. I don't know. That's almost as tasteful as D'Lo Brown caused Terry Runnels to have a miscarriage, and so he's doing everything she says out of guilt, or something like that. Like that's this Vince Russo bullshit. And you think that, first of all, you think Mox needs your help to get over as a heel, and then second, that's your big idea. No, that just can it. You're done. You out. Um, but as you were saying, there was this criticism leveled, and there is good criticism to have. Okay, here I will give you a good criticism right now. One of your most over people that you have on your roster has just kind of been floating for a bit, and we have not seen Swerve doing much of consequence for a few months. That is a legitimate criticism. I agree. I think Swerve is great. I think Swerve does a lot of, Swerve does a lot of really good storytelling. Why is he not involved with something bigger right now? And part of that is there's only so much space on the show, and you want to spread it out so it's not all top of the card stuff. Okay, sure. However, there needs to be something. This is a big. This guy's. You've made him into a big deal. You should be doing something with him. Hangman's not back yet. Hangman made that appearance, but he's not back yet because he's still dealing with some neck issue stuff. Okay, well, that's kind of the presumption. He brought that up in his interview. But you've got some big name people who aren't doing anything of consequence right now. It's like, you really could be. Okay, that's a fair criticism. Even if I don't necessarily straight up agree with it, that's still a fair criticism. And to be honest, I do agree with that. So I probably should have
I
a different a different criticism. Oh well, okay. Here's my criticism. I don't like the fact that a Nostalgia Act is holding your tag belts. This is a company where
yeah,
younger new people are the thing, and I don't like the fact that you've got a Nostalgia Act holding those tag belts. What does that do to
I
benefit you?
I don't I don't mind it if it's for a limited duration. Tony Khan has he's definitely shown that he is definitely for having people win titles to add them to the title lineage,
Yeah,
you know. So Edge and Christian are obviously very they had their own like very storied like singles careers, but obviously as a tag team they were very notable and popular, like legendary if you want. But so I didn't mind it, but it's like you should move on. Like you
yeah,
should have them, and especially if there are people who have argued like Jacob, he did a whole like kind of post about how like if Tony Khan wants to, and he could, that'd be a great way to distinguish yourself from the competition. You could you could revitalize the tag division, especially with potentially people like the New Day coming in, Motor City Machine Guns possibly coming in. You
hmm
can get both those teams to the contract. You could have like a ton of you could have a absolutely ton of tag teams and really push the tag team division.
yeah,
And having the belts for indefinite period on Edge and Christian, it's like no, like I don't think you should. I mean, did they have a great match with FTR at the last pay per view? Like, yeah, they did. Are they gonna have a great match every time? Like, I think both guys try hard, but I don't I don't need to see them with the belts like for a long term.
I think
Like, and they shouldn't.
yeah, I think part of what's happened is that the belts being parked on them at the moment is kind of the best option because FTR is out for a bit because they're banged up and
Mm.
they're taking some time off. And you know what? Yeah, uh, it's a hard business on your body. Um, Remember, like the Guns from the Bang Bang Gang were out injured for a long time. Okay, we don't have them around. I think the Bucks are setting up for something, so they don't want to be in that at the moment. All in, I'm kind of expecting Edge and Christian in the Bucks, and maybe FTR in it. Maybe as a ladder match just for the member berries. I'm not sure, but
I
but
when when is all in? Let me look that up.
but if while you're looking it up, I'm going to keep going. Um, like other big tag teams you've got are there. You've either got people out hurt or they're doing other stuff now. Mark Davis, Davis and Doyle. Davis is holding the national title. Doyle is being the heavy for the Don Callis family. Don't want to pull Davis out of this singles thing right now to throw him back into that because why would you? Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus is hurt. Can't really do that. Um, who do you have around that is built up enough that could you could park those belts with for the time being? This might just be the best choice for the time being. Okay, fine. But I want to see the thing that I have faith in with AEW is they typically have a reason for making the choices they make. Usually there's a pretty good reason for it. There are some things where I don't have any idea what the reason is, and I don't like it. Um, just an example off the top of my head was Jay White versus Billy Gunn on that one show that Billy Gunn just beat the crap out of Jay White and pinned him, and it's like,
I
why
get
are we
that.
doing
Yeah.
this?
I
Um,
mean, if I was fantasy booking, like I'd probably put maybe the belts on like the dogs, and
I
that way
think
you could
they're
have them feud
establishing
with.
the dogs right now because
Yeah.
anybody who comes into the company. Oh, there's another example. The dogs are in that first trial page of like, let's make sure everybody plays ball because he's been burned by that in the past. So he's making sure you'll take your lumps before he gives you the big prize.
Well, and I think that it it seemed like that Finley probably didn't want to go to the WWE, but he
Okay.
didn't because they lowballed him. So
Uh huh.
maybe he's like, why don't you prove to me that you want to be here, not just like, well, this has
Yeah.
made the most financial sense, and that you're just looking to like leave as soon as, are you gonna like bust your ass,
Yeah.
or you just gonna kill time for like 2 3 years, however long the contract is.
Yeah. Well, and as an example that goes with that, after that last Anarchy in the Arena, where's the Hurt Syndicate, right? And I kind of get the impression with they went from having a segment every week. They were having those like quarter five segments with MJF every week. Prime segments, like number one viewership segments are your show open, your show close, and that first quarter after the middle of the show are apparently your prime viewer segments. And then all of a sudden, that just all went away. Like something happened there. Don't know what it is. Um, the demand is not really built up enough for it. The Death Riders haven't really shown a drive to go after the tag belt. So, what you would have at the moment is your credible challengers for it aren't available for the moment.
But that said, everything that you just said,
Yeah.
it's like you listed a bunch of tag teams that it's like this, that right there, you can revitalize and
Mm-hmm.
really push the tag division, especially if you're going to have other people coming in like the Motor City Machine Guns and New
Yeah.
Day, which I looked it up. Like you said, like the Bucks going to do something, or maybe it'd be like a big.
Yeah.
All in is August 30th.
Uh huh.
The New Day's 90-day non-compete is up in early August, so you literally could have them show up in like one of the early August night
Yeah.
Dynamites, and within like a 2 week amount of time, they can come and like challenge like the
Mm-hmm.
Young Bucks, and then boom, that's like your all in
Yeah.
match for the Young Bucks. And it's like, yeah, it'd be like short turnaround, but for the New Day, people would excuse that. They'd be
Yeah.
like, they could show up like on a Wednesday and be like, let's have a match on the pay per view on this
And
Sunday,
people are going
and
to be like,
people would be like,
yeah.
done.
Because
Uh,
folks have wanted that match for years. They have
yeah,
wanted the Bucks versus what is the refreshed solar cycle doing in the Impact Zone? Um,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, it's a dumb joke. I just had to get it out of my head. Yeah, you could do that. I think that I'm hoping that once they have credible teams, credible top end of the division teams in the mix, then you can start stirring it up and having maybe these teams you want to build into being credible to beat some of these upper tier teams, and like you can start doing that alchemy to revitalize the division as a whole. Because like let's just say off the top of my head that if we grabbed if the infantry came out, and I'm not dogging the infantry, that's just at the moment they're not. They wouldn't be considered a threat to the tag belts. They came out and they just beat Edge and Christian for the belts. Everyone would be like, "What? What's going on?" And people would kind of, you know, the it would be
It would
confused
be,
and turn people off.
yeah. So as an aside,
Yeah,
since you mentioned them, like I would actually be really happy if the Demand, aka Gates of Agony, actually won the tag belts. Like I like those guys a lot. Like those are guys like you should be pushing and having those guys either with tag belts or challenging for them.
they
There's
spent
tons of like
so much time selling for the Hurt Syndicate though that I feel like they need the stepping stones to build up to it. Out of those two, I don't understand what it is that Bishop Khan doesn't have to make him a bigger deal. But I
he's
want
got
to
a great look,
yeah,
good worker.
yeah, that's what
I
gets
actually
me.
think they should. They're kind of like again, it's like a lull, but it's like you should do more with the Demand. And this is where Tony I think gets hurt by the fact that not discounting Ring of Honor. It's like you got 4 hours of show every week.
Yeah,
Like, and the WWE has, if you count NXT, like
hmm,
6 to 7. Because sometimes SmackDown is 3. On Raw, I don't even know if it's like it has to be 2. I think sometimes it goes longer. I don't know, but anyway, like they have more TV or a little more TV. Uh, but there are valid criticisms to go back to the subject where it's like there are things you could complain about Tony Khan, and we do. And it's like you have a lot of guys in the roster, and there's a ton of really talented guys, and it's like Tony Khan's booking sometimes just drops it, or he gets lazy, or he just gets complacent, or he does what's safe. And I mentioned them, but a lot of times it's just like here's a random conglomeration match, and it's like, well, that's great. I mean, I really like Orange Cassidy, love seeing him on my TV, but let me think of another group than like the Shane Taylor Promotions.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, we don't want to. Okay, for example, if Dark
oh,
Order showed up and just won the tag belts, you'd be like, why? And here's the thing, I like Dark Order. I have liked Dark Order for years, but I would be really confused by that.
I'll use it. I'll use a different one. So, because this I think was actually like a match recently. It's like okay, you're gonna have or some approximation of this match. So like at least some of these people are involved. It's like all right, a Dynamite or Collision. You're gonna randomly just have like here's Orange Cassidy, the conglomeration. So it's Orange Cassidy and Roderick and Kyle O'Reilly, and they're just gonna have like a 10-minute match against the Don Callis family of Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero, and like Lance Archer. And it's like,
Hmm.
all right, well, this is going to be a fine match, and Don Callis family is pushed. They're on my TV a lot, and that's
Yeah,
fine. And conglomeration are popular. It's like great, but it's also like, how about instead we get like conglomeration versus like the Demand,
hmm,
and maybe you start a feud with like the conglomeration versus like the Demand,
yeah,
and I can get some combination of like I maybe leads up to like Orange Cassidy and Ricochet having just like a amazing like match at a pay per view,
yeah.
or just in general you see like Gates of Agony like tearing shit up with Roderick and Kyle O'Reilly, and it's like you get those guys like more minutes, and you see they're more like doing stuff versus, but it's not. It's like well here's just like for lack of a better put it, no offense to these guys, here's a filler match. And that's a match that unfortunately it's like I'm gonna probably fast forward it because it's
I
like I like the guys involved. It's not even like a criticism that it's like let's say this show there's this match and then there's also like uh Mark Briscoe versus Kyle Fletcher in your main event. It's like oh well that match is gonna be good.
yeah,
So I'd rather just like spend my time watching that for like 15 minutes, 20
yeah.
minutes versus like I can fast. I have limited time like because I usually watch this stuff when I'm able to stay awake, and my wife is like gone to bed,
Mm-hmm.
and my children are in bed. So like the couple nights out of the week that I can like stay awake to do that,
Yeah.
uh, I will be watching that. It's like I gotta watch this on fast forward sometimes. Some of it,
Yeah.
some things have to fall through the cracks sometimes.
Yeah. I think that there's also, like, for example, we don't know what's going on with the demand. We don't know if somebody's hurt. We don't know if someone's just taking some time off they had scheduled. We don't know. They don't broadcast that all
Yeah.
over the place. I think that one of the things that happens is that TK has a habit of giving people a break. They've been on TV this much. Okay, I'm going to give them a break and use some other people for a bit. And in concept, I love that. Why? Because then it's exciting when they show back up. But then there's also like, if this guy's available, you should be doing something here. But what we've done is we have just gone through, I don't know what, 20 minutes worth of criticisms that I think are fair, that are saying, look, we're not saying the show sucks. We're saying we think it could be better, and here's how. And you couple that with, this is a show that's also doing things we really like. Mark Davis has been out there tearing it up with the national title. Kyle Fletcher with the international title is fantastic because what happened is Kyle Fletcher stepped from the TNT to the international, and Kyle Fletcher's fantastic. Kenny Omega winning that title is something that it's a great idea. It popped ratings. It's sold tickets to All In, that sort of stuff. They're doing stuff right. They're doing good stuff, but then there's also some stuff like this could maybe be a little better. That's good faith criticism. But what happens is that by and large, that's not the kind of criticism that you hear floating around from the talking heads, or I should rephrase that. That's not the criticism that gets trumpeted. Look, if we want to have
No,
WWE criticism, here it is. You have cut the legs off of an up and comer. You know, Braun Breaker probably should have been a champion by now. You
he was
have,
supposed to be a champion.
yeah.
It,
Well,
it's actually egregious the level that they've cut him
yeah.
off the D's, and they're doing it right now with Obafemi.
They're doing it with
And
Obafemi. What they've done
he
with
he won
Gunther,
he won. Oh, Gunther's bad too. But Obafemi like won the King of the Ring where they said like, oh, if whoever gets the King of the Ring will have a title shot at SummerSlam. And so then for like a couple weeks, they were like, he was like, no, like I'm gonna forego my title shot. Not that it's like I'm giving it up. He's like, I'm gonna like put it on pause because I want to face Brock Lesnar at King of the Ring,
at
in Hell in a
SummerSlam,
Cell. Oh,
yeah,
sorry, SummerSlam. And he thought it was like, well, if I had the title match, Brock Lesnar would probably like interfere, so I'm gonna hold off on it. It's like that's not very good logic, but
yeah,
okay, whatever. Like you want to make an excuse why I'm going to forego this. I want to face him, and it's like that's dumb. You're already kind of cutting off the knees the whole step.
yeah.
That it's
What?
like, oh, I got a title shot, but at least you're like, all right, well, I'm going to forego it for right now. I'm going to like put it on pause. I'm going to put that in my back pocket. It's like, okay, like, all right, whatever. You'll get it later on, right? And then they just announced like a couple weeks after that, it's like, oh, actually, he's giving it up. What do you mean
Why
he's
even
giving it
have
up?
him in the King of the Ring then?
Yeah,
Why?
but then, but here's the thing. In the last like couple days, I think it was like this weekend because this weekend it was the World Cup, which was held at MetLife, and WWE ran in I think in Madison Square Garden, but Saturday night they did a Saturday night main event, and Roman was there because he had like a match where he was on the show, and so they also did like media and everything like that. I don't know if it was like media scrum or a podcast or something, but he gave this whole thing where he's like, "Oh, Obafemi's like, man, he's not ready and everything," and it's like maybe it's kayfabe. I don't know that it was. If it wasn't, then it's like then he's just basically telling you like he's saying it in your face that like he potentially politicked where it's like, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
He pulled it. That's Obafemi challenging me for the world title. It doesn't
it
work for
doesn't
me,
work for
brother.
me, brother. Yeah,
But they're already cutting him off the knees, and they're still like, oh well, no, the plan is like Obafemi versus Roman, at Mania next year. And it's like, okay, what are you gonna do with
yeah,
Obafemi? Because he and I, as much of a degenerate piece of shit, fuck him, may and rot in hell. Vince McMahon is. Vince McMahon would have probably already put the title on Obafemi
hmm
because he guys who are a lot less over and a lot less like you know star power, like take this guy to the bank than
yeah,
him. Vince put the title on him like immediately.
yeah.
Like Sheamus like got brought to the main roster within like I don't even say 6 months. I think it was like 3 months. He had him beat John Cena for the title. Like
Jack
he like strapped a
Swagger.
rocket to his ass. Yeah, and these guys, Sheamus, no offense, Sheamus, I had, to my opinion, had a lot less like, oh, this guy, huge main event star, appeal that Obafemi does.
Yeah,
And I feel Sheamus was a better worker than Obafemi is right now. But
it, yes, but what happens is those criticisms get met with, "Oh well, what are you gonna do?" Or just enjoy the show. It's like so,
it's all part of the show.
or it's just we've had 20, 26 years of criticizing, 25 years, sorry, of criticizing just WWE, and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you criticize them, of course you do. Whereas AEW fans are like, you all have been full of bullshit since this started,
Yeah,
and I'm not, you know, and I'm going to push back on everything because
and
this is
that's and
bullshit.
yeah, and that I think is it. There are AEW fans who push back at everything, even valid criticisms, even mild criticisms, even from people who aren't. They don't have an agenda. Is because the well has so thoroughly been poisoned that a lot of AEW fans they're basically inoculated. They've been
Yeah,
inoculated. They've been getting so much poison that they're now immune to it, but they're also going to push back against even valid criticisms and just turtle shell because there's been so much disingenuous bullshit that the
yeah,
reflexive reaction is to like you know a wall, hard fast
yeah,
wall, like nope. And I mean, I personally think AEW right now is like ascended. They're on the rise,
hmm
and they're doing very well creatively and financially from business perspective. We'll talk at another date. The accusations that it's like, oh, they're already canceled. It's like I don't have the energy tonight at this late hour to be going through that bullshit, and we won't because we're talking about something else. But it's like they're ascendant right now.
hmm
So if you're an AEW fan like us, you can we can honestly well we're different because we don't just like Tony Khan's great, everything's great, nothing bad. It's like we just talked we had a digression there for several minutes talking about how like well he should be doing this, like there's things he could be doing here, like I didn't even add my thoughts, but it's like yeah, like he should be doing more with Swerve. Swerve I think may unfortunately be in that position where it's like he's reached a certain level that it's like you're a top level guy, we got to do something with you, but I don't know that Tony Khan has something for him. So it's just like, he's just not doing anything with him. And it's like, but that's a problem. Like you should figure out something to do with one of your top guys. Like
It's like you're not.
have him
One of
feud
my
with
top
someone.
guys is not doing something at the moment,
Yeah.
so I'm letting him hang out until I start doing something with him. It's like, okay, I
You're
get
having
that,
I mean,
but
I don't hate him. I don't hate him as other people do,
yeah,
but you're having Champa do stuff with Chris Jericho, you
I
know.
mean, that's a lower card feud going on right now,
It
and I'm
is, but
okay
it's
with
like
that.
it is, but it's like since Champa is down to clown
hmm
and have great matches with people, the psycho killer gimmick thing. All right, why don't you have this like Jericho stuff blow off, and then you need something to do with Swerve? It's like, how about you put Swerve like facing Champa?
Oh,
Figure out like a
dude,
reason, and
could
it's
you?
like
Oh
you at
no,
least
that
are gonna
reason's
have like
built in. Think about this: Champa's the psycho killer, and Swerve is like, oh, you're so dangerous, right? Because Swerve's thing has been, I'm the most dangerous man in the company. You think that a psycho killer worries me? I'm going to prove otherwise. It's right there, and go with
Yeah.
it. And what do you do now? It might be like, Swerve damn well better win that feud, but they could do some crazy stuff with it. Go for it,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um,
Or how about this? Like I get what you're saying about Fletcher, like
mhm.
elevating now to like the international title. It's like I feel even though they're all great, I feel like we are on month like number nth where it's just been some combination of like Okada, Fletcher, Takeshita,
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
round and round and round. It's like why don't you have Swerve fight, get in a feud with either one of those other three,
Hmm.
you know, for the title, without the title, something.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, an
So I
Okada
don't.
Swerve feud could be. They've had a match, but I mean, the thing that I give the Don Callis family leeway on is the fact that they don't dominate the top of the card and they get beat. So
Mhm.
what? Okay, you might say Don Callis family's too big. What do people benefit from being in it? Well, and I'll admit I was one of those people like, why is did Kevin Knight turn heel and immediately join? What it does is that added some weight to Kevin Knight's heel turn to make him, yeah, he's doing arrogant great, but now he's an irredeemable bastard out of it, right? And Don Callis has kind of helped cement that. Okay, cool. Um, but yeah, there have been some talents that have been showcased a lot, and it would be good for them to mix it up with somebody new. Swerve versus Fletcher, cool. Swerve versus Okada, cool. Uh, I'm gonna
You could even do
go ahead.
if Swerve's like heel
Hmm.
or heelish. You could even do like Swerve versus Andrade since Andrade is basically like face now. He
Yeah,
just turned face. But the problem is like to really like hype up Andrade, like you should have him go over
yeah.
there, and maybe you don't want to
Andrade's
do that
gonna
with Swerve.
have to have some time of getting over and winning because he's been that guy who's on the upper end of the card, but he's willing to put people over. It's like you're gonna have to restore some credibility to him. You're gonna have to
I,
give him some wins soon.
you do, and to fantasy book, I would almost have him go over Fletcher for the international, like put a title on him, or you could just have him build up to where it's like he wins like the Continental Classic this year.
Were
Like
it
you do need to, like you said, I agree with you. Like you need to have him.
were it me, I would have my plan for All In would be Andrade versus MJF, and
Yeah,
MJF's like, you were a problem for me, and I'm gonna straighten this out, and Andrade's like, oh, okay, you want to go, let's go, and you have an opportunity for Andrade to beat MJF at Wembley there, and that's a big defining thing for him. Cool. Great
yeah,
thing to do with MJF that's not involved around the title. Great thing to help Andrade go over, and it's not going to hurt MJF because I mean, he's chicken shit heel anyway. Not exactly he's an insecure heel anyway.
mhm,
So you have all of that going on. All in, okay. If All In's your biggest show of the year, then every available big name that you have should be on it.
yeah,
And so, yes, Swerve should be on that. And frankly, Swerve has been in a place kind of like Andrade where he's not been, winning big stuff lately. So I would say set him up for a big win there. I don't know what it would be. I don't know how it would be. I don't know what, but, run with it. Or, I mean, what the hell? Just for kicks. I know Davis is doing it right now, but it's not gonna last forever. Swerve takes that national title off of him, and then because Swerve has been a really good ambassador for the company, you have him do the touring thing with it. Why not? But that is all beside the point of good faith criticism of there's too many people doing the bad faith stuff. That's why there's the pushback. And I believe you were saying that Alvarez's pushback is not wholly informed. Might that be a good way of putting it?
So I mean, the reason I want to talk about this is because like this, Brian gave like a rant
Mm-hmm.
like a few days ago on the Observer, radio, because people were giving him static because he was complaining about AEW and giving the criticism, and he was like, he felt like taking the tact of like you don't want to hear any criticism, which it's like, yeah, he has a point because as we talked about, like there's a reason why, like we just added the context because there's been so much disingenuous bullshit that even like Dave Meltzer, on the Observer has pointed out numerous times, or on Twitter he's pointed out numerous times. A lot of disingenuous stuff. Now Dave hasn't helped it over the years, which is going in because again, Dave's obsessed with numbers, but the flip side of that is like if WWE was doing better numbers, you know, then he's just like, oh, WWE is like, oh, it's so hot, they have the better product, and it's like you made your bones largely not just on like, oh, I'm going to talk about the news in wrestling or rumors or like inside info. You made your bones on being like, your match reviews, which it's like, so then you understand the aesthetics of wrestling. You understand like the quality of like a wrestling match, like the artistic value of a wrestling match. So the WWE doing better numbers doesn't make it a better product. But that's a whole other separate discussion which we've talked about before. But he's called out the bad faith for he's got into it about Jim Cornette, Eric
Yeah.
Bischoff, and everything like that. And he's right. Like there disingenuous stuff coming from people like them. But Brian a rant, because he got pushback on his criticism. And in his rant, he like I'm quoting like what he said. He's like they've got everything they need to be so much bigger, meaning AEW, than they are. But you guys that are diehards won't criticize you. White Knight, you hero worship. You say it's all great. There's nothing wrong with it. Brian's the problem. Brian needs an edible. It'll make you laugh. You know what? You know who wants the AEW to beat AEW to beat WWE? Me. And the ain't nowhere close. When I try to point out all these things that hold back growth, I am the one that gets yelled at. That's irritating. So he has some valid points where it's like, you don't want any criticism. It's like, yeah, the diehards don't. Let me explain why. I feel Brian, though, is, is he not informed? It's like, I think he's being a little disingenuous. Not disingenuous that, the Jim Cornettes or the Bubbas, or the Eric Bischoffs are. But disingenuous is like Brian does complain about AEW, and it's not like we just talking about like, oh man. But sometimes, in fairness, sometimes he does like, I didn't like the booking of this. For example, he's like, Hangman Page came out, and then they didn't announce it beforehand, and they've talked about it since, and it's like, yeah,
Fair.
that's not great. That's fair, but he was a wrestler, and he's watched wrestling like us for decades. It's like you know how the sausage is made, Brian. Like why do they do that? It's because excuse me, because it was like well, it wasn't Saturday Night Main Event because that was this past week, but it was like the week before. So what were they doing? They were doing something. Was it what were they doing that it's like it was Saturday night? WWE had something. Was it a pay per view? It certainly wasn't
I'm not
SummerSlam.
sure. Um,
Maybe it was Saturday Night. I don't know what they were doing something, and like they had Hangman Page came out, and it's like yeah, they're just trying to like pop a rating for Collision, and it worked. They got a good rating,
and it was
and then
right
he's not.
there. You
Yeah,
know.
it was in Virginia where
Yeah.
Hangman is from. So and he I think is out injured or whatever. Like so, they didn't announce it before. They haven't talked about it since because it's like well he's not back yet. But they had him come out and do a promo, because it's like well they wanted to pop a number because they didn't announce it like on Dynamite that he's going to be there, but they had said on social media, so at least they got enough attention, and it did pop a good rating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's like Brian, like the business well enough that it's like Why do they have him? Why do they talk about it? It's like because he's not ready to come back, and they just want to get a rating.
Yeah.
And that's been wrestling like forever. Like, oh, like let's have a hometown guy come out and they'll give like a good house, you
Yeah.
know. And that's what happened. So don't be disingenuous. But he makes criticism. That's sorry. That's an example of like, well, you have a point. That's a valid criticism of the booking. But most of the time, his criticisms are like, they didn't do enough. They didn't do video packages like the WWE. Like they didn't explain stuff. And it's half the time that he's like, they didn't explain this. It's like they did explain it.
Yeah.
They explained it like the segment right before. So you being like they didn't explain this, what are you doing? You're doing like me with the conglomeration match I said earlier. You're watching this shit on fast forward.
Yeah.
You weren't paying attention. And him complaining like, oh, they don't have enough video packages. They don't explain this enough. It's like because you watch this on fast forward, you are paid to watch the shows. I've I've there are very few people out there that I've seen in the wrestling media who seems so disgruntled at the fact that he gets paid to watch wrestling, disgruntled at the fact that he has to watch review wrestling and talk about it. And to me, like a lot of his criticisms, which he styles is like, oh, I just want AEW to be better than WWE. Like, I want to. It's like you want them to be like WWE. You want them to do shit like explain everything because you're not paying attention to this, or you want them to do video packages recapping shit because you're not watching all the segments. So you want that. It's like that's not the way for AEW to beat WWE is not to just become like WWE in the production aspects of their show.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been shown time and time again that if you do that, then people are just like, why am I watching this? I could just watch WWE.
Yeah.
And obviously AEW isn't like that, and they wouldn't because even if they did incorporate more of that, they would have better wrestling. But still, like the people that like those elements are the people that prefer WWE, so they'll watch WWE.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I feel Brian's criticisms, while sometimes they can be valid, unfortunately to me, it's like I'll be hyperbolic and be like, you're the worst person to make these criticisms. He's not the worst person because he's not disingenuous like a
Tell
lot of people we mentioned.
stories.
Yeah, he's not disingenuous like that. But his criticisms are a little disingenuous because it's like, I don't feel like that's really, you're just, oh, I'm just trying to help AEW out. It's like, I don't. I feel like you are complaining that AEW doesn't do enough things that makes your job as a reviewer of wrestling content and discussing it easier
Yeah.
by like having more video packaging and then
Oh yeah. Yeah.
explaining things more because like you've fast forwarded a bunch of shit. So now it's like, oh wait, what happened? Oh, this guy's telling me I don't need to like go back.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's a lot of like those that's what I say. Like I define it as production elements. You want
Right.
he
Right.
wants them
Right.
to be more like WWE in production elements,
So
and I don't think that that's what AEW needs or should do.
yeah, one thing that and you know what, to be fair on the criticism too, out of everybody from the Observer, Brian is who I would really rather listen to than everybody else. Dave's speaking style makes me absolutely crazy.
He's
He's got so many verbal tics in there, it absolutely makes me nuts.
You
And
think that we digress? He digress. He'll
well,
digress.
yeah, well, like, and
Uh, but he'll digress where it's like we're talking. He'll stop and they give like an anecdote about something that happened
yeah,
like 20, 30 years ago. Like no one does anything. No one will do it
yeah.
ever again like
So
Dave.
no one, no, that's true.
He's hilarious. He frustrates me to no end sometimes.
Warts and
He's
all.
a he's a he's a good guy though. He's a funny dude. He's underappreciatedly funny. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
And here's the thing, I did. There was a stretch, especially during COVID, but there was a stretch where, before my work position changed, that I would typically listen to the Observer Radio stuff through YouTube during the day. 3 o'clock, I'm doing other stuff, but I turn on listening. By and large, I thought Brian had a pretty good grasp on things, but there's sometimes where it's just like, sorry, dude, that ain't it. And that happens. I don't know if he's doing a gimmick. I don't know if he's doing a bit or what. And I don't want people to get the idea that we hate the guy and we don't, that sort of stuff. Don't think that's fair.
I
Some of the
think
funniest I have laughed at stuff was some of his stuff. Is and the Brian and Vinny show. That's that's enjoyable. That's a little bit more an ensemble thing, but the grind of doing an hour-long show 5 days a week every day is gonna lead to you're gonna end up with some bad takes in there too. So uh,
I don't think he. I think he's. How do I phrase this? I don't think he's doing a bit, but I also think he's doing a bit. Like I think he does hype up some things,
I think that the
but
guy,
I do think his frustration
yeah,
and wanting AEW to be more like WWE for the reasons I said, I
yeah,
think are legit. I think he does, and I think that he's a guy that I think for whatever reason he's burnt out, and I feel if he took a step away, which is like that's your job. So it's like take a step away from your job. But I mean, like I feel like if he stopped having to review wrestling or so much of it for a
yeah.
while, then he would come back
You
maybe
bring
more
some new
fresh. But
people on that do like the show reviews specifically or something like that. Here's the thing. I think the guy just straight up needs an actual honest to god vacation because for years, from watching, what would happen? It's like, "Oh, I'm on vacation this week." So he would still be doing the show from like the the smallest bedroom in the house of whatever
ha,
Airbnb they rented or something like that. It doesn't seem to me like he's had a straight up vacation in a long time. And this is some extreme pot calling the kettle black there because for a real full bore vacation, I have not done that outside of vacations where I'm not actively like doing or participating in something, working at a convention, something like that. I can think of one in the last
hmm,
8 years, maybe. Like, I
wow,
know I should be better about it, but I just, part of it was the previous position I was in, I just felt guilty, right? Or I couldn't stack the time off together except around the holidays or something like that. And I should do better. I really should, but I haven't. So
yeah.
that's where I'm at on that one. But what happened is so many of his vacations he was still doing the show on his vacation. It's like, dude, you need an actual break. Um, but were there any other topics we wanted to hit at? Uh,
Uh, well, the one I want to do quickly because no real information is for sure out there, but there was a lot of chat. I guess so. Saturday night's main event Saturday had had Lyra Valkyrie
mm-hmm.
against Bailey, and Lyra won, but did it in a way that people were like, "Oh, is Bailey gone?" Because she like just demolished Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed like it was one of the much how like Shay was leaving,
Yeah.
he got like destroyed.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was people were like, "Oh, is Bailey gone? Gone? Like, is she leaving the WWE?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting and notable because it had been rumored like, "Oh, her contract's up in 2026." And we're in the now we've now entered the last 6 months of 2026, so that we're in practically the latter half.
Yeah.
I think there was ambiguity. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people asked like, "Well, when is it up?" Because some I don't know that people knew that it was like really ending in 2026 or what have you, but excuse me, there were some rumors that it was. But what was interesting is before this match, uh, like a week or so ago, in the last few days certainly, Mercedes posted, I think it was like a picture of like her like versus Bailey, like them having a match against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no, I take that back. Someone posted that. That's not what she did. She did, I think, like something with Bailey, and then did like an hourglass, like you know, like time running out,
Yeah.
which people were like, oh my god, like is this like what is this saying? Is Mercedes like, and Mercedes is a hilarious person. Like she could have just done that just to stir the pot,
Mm-hmm.
and that seems like something that would just amuse her.
Yeah.
But then there's also stuff you hear, like rumors where it's like, oh, Bailey's frustrated, and she should be because her booking has been shit,
Oh yeah.
like the last like 2 3 years.
Look, to be honest with you, after winning the women's title at that first Mania she was on, they have just kind of beaten her up and jobbed her out.
Yeah. But she's been doing a lot of stuff in the last like year with these. Oh, I'm just running wrestling seminars, which it's like coincident. I think she's done too, but like coincidentally,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Like both times, all the women that like been at the seminar, it's like, oh wow, they all get like WWE tryouts, and I think some of them have been signed. It's like, then this just seems like you're really running a WWE tryout seminar that your styling is like not. You're just giving back to wrestling, and to me, that it's like I'm gonna assume that you are, for lack of a better way to put it. I'll use my anti WWE AEW lingo. You're a federal agent where you just maybe you're gonna do what Natty does, where it's like, oh, I'm just out for wrestling, and it's like, you work for the WWE, like you're pushing the WWE. You want to get in their good graces by just bringing as many women to them as possible, women wrestlers. But I don't know. But Mercedes posted that there was this match with Lyra, and then Sean Ross Sapp came out today saying, "Oh, I've had a story with Bailey that I've been sitting on, but I guess I'll drop it."
Yeah.
And the story, I guess there's more to it, but at least what the aggregators who just post shit
Yeah.
that Sean or Dave says, that's their entire existence, just posting it
They
for
just
for
post
free.
clips without any
Yeah,
context to it. Dave said
but
this. It's like it was speculation. It wasn't
yeah,
reporting.
yeah, allegedly, I guess based on the aggregator sharing, is that Sean is saying that her contract does run out at least at some point in 2026. Uh, Maybe soon, not like July soon necessarily, but
Mm-hmm.
soon-ish. And that she allegedly has not signed yet a new deal, which doesn't mean that she won't. Uh, we are in, as we talked about on this show, the context of TKO is in the point in time where there's a handful of guys they see as top guys who they'll give big contracts to,
Yeah.
and then a bunch of guys who they have been asking to take pay cuts. And it depends upon how they view you as a star, and there are other factors involved, which it seems to be like, well, what's your age? What is your level of stardom in the company? Like, can we make you a big star? Like, are you going to give more value to us? Like, depending upon those factors, it depends on they ask to take a pay cut. And
Yeah.
I can't recall if we talked about it on the show, but the rumor going around is that Sami Zayn is one that did take the pay cut, and he actually may have been the name a while back
That's the rumor.
that was theorized, like, oh, a big star, like, and not that it's been confirmed, but I think John Oliver inadvertently or maybe advertently posted like a conversation that he had with Kevin Nash, where Kevin Nash basically like said, "Oh, I was talking to Sami Zayn," and Nash a few weeks ago had,
Sean
without
Oliver.
naming names,
You threw
yeah.
me because I heard you say John Oliver, and I'm like, it was on last week tonight.
Wait, who were you saying?
When you said Sean Oliver the first time, I thought I heard you say John Oliver,
No, I did say John Oliver.
the
I thought,
the comedian,
is Sean Oliver a different guy?
the guy that ran kayfabe commentaries.
Oh, maybe I
It was
misread
Sean.
it. I thought.
It was Sean Oliver.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I heard John Oliver.
It's okay.
I mean,
It
John
could.
Oliver has talked about
He
wrestling.
has. He really has. He has one of my favorite lines. He says, "When wrestling is good, it is better than everything that you like." And it's like that's such a good line. Sorry, you threw me there, and I was just like, okay, let's hash this out real quick.
Maybe it was Sean Oliver. There was some Oliver.
Yeah,
Um, hold on one second. Oh yeah, okay, so it was Sean Oliver. Okay, yeah, sorry. I read that as John Oliver because my mind just made the connection.
it's okay.
It
I'm
was,
sorry.
and so Sean Oliver like allegedly inadvertently shared a conversation he had with Kevin Nash where it basically seemed like Kevin Nash outed Sami Zayn as the wrestler who took the 50% pay cut. And there's allegedly more, but if you recall, when this was a big topic, like a couple months
Yeah.
back, like Kevin Nash did this cryptic on his podcast. He did this cryptic thing where it's like, yeah, I was talking with the WWE guy. I know who it was,
Mm-hmm.
or at least one of the people I know. And it's like, yeah, he was talking to me, and like he took a pay cut, and he's still making like a ton of money. Try to like PR it where it's like, oh, well, it's still a lot of money. And it's like, well, it doesn't fucking matter, like 50%. But if you believe all this,
Yeah.
then and I bring that up because like if Kevin Nash told the story and then later it's like Sean Oliver is disclosing a conversation with Kevin Nash where it seemed like Sami Zayn was being outed,
Yeah.
it would be believable that it is true because Kevin Nash told this whole story about like, oh, I talked to this WWE guy and he took the pay cut, you know. So if later on inadvertently because like, oh, it's Sami Zayn, then it's like, well, that's potentially believable because Kevin Nash did lay the
Yeah.
foundation. It's like he's talking with somebody who took it. But
Yeah.
anyway, if TKO decides, well, you're old, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna get that much more out of you. You're not a top guy. You're good, but not really a top guy. And this would go along with what Meltzer had said. All the rumors I heard, it was like a guy who, was mismanaged, could have been a top guy,
Yeah.
but wasn't there anymore. Who took the pay cut? It's like, well, that would fit with Sami Zayn. I bring all that up, all that to say, like we're in the era where like if you're a top guy, which is like a handful of people, they'll pay you. Everyone else, you're like fair game. And Bailey is 37 with bum knees, hasn't been booked well. So could she stay with WWE TKO? She could, and I actually feel she probably. I lean towards like she might. But if TKO is like, how about you take half a paycheck as your new offer? They may let her walk. Or she may decide to walk
Yeah.
because I've seen some things where it's like they're releasing people, New Day, Motor
Mm.
City Machine Guns, Sheamus, with the attitude it's like, oh well, again, like the whole back thing they did back in the day, where it's like we'll release a ton of people, and Tony Khan will pay big money for them, and it's like we don't have to pay that money, and it'll also like hurt them because they're paying so much money for people. And I think that Tony Khan has gotten more discriminating about who he hires.
Mm-hmm.
We may see, like, because he may just bring in a ton of people that WWE has released in the last like few months.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean,
but we'll go ahead.
Khan's not hiring everybody that they're not keeping.
And he shouldn't.
No.
I feel New Day you should. I would actually
Yes.
take Motor City Machine Guns if you're going to do what we kind of theorize. Like if you're going to revitalize the tag division, you should.
Yeah.
Sheamus,
Eh.
I don't
What
think you
what
need to.
what would
I
Sheamus
think that he
add that you don't already have?
I could see it happening. He could
Mm-hmm.
because he may think that Sheamus could come in and be like a Tommaso Ciampa where it's like I can just have him like go out there and he's going to have something to prove and just have like banger matches with guys. And it's like I get it, but it's like how long of a contract are you going to sign him to?
Yeah.
Like if it's like I'll give you a 1 year contract and then you just have him 1 year of him just like having go out there and beating the piss out of each other with a whole host of guys, then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, are you gonna do like a 3 year contract? It's gonna be like 47 or something with I don't know. Like but I could see that
Hmm.
for women. I think Alva Fire was she one of the ones that got released, or am I thinking of someone else? Was she already released?
I'm not sure.
She may have already been doing stuff with Ring of Honor. There's some other Nikki Cross, but I don't think he should bring Nikki Cross
No,
in. There was
Isla
some other one.
Dawn has been doing Ring of Honor
Maybe
stuff.
okay, maybe it was Alba Fire. Kairi Sane, but I don't think Kairi Sane. Like if Kairi Sane is like, oh, I'll work with you, like maybe. But would he take Bailey? I think he would take Bailey if she wanted to go,
Yeah.
purely because of Mercedes. But I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if she really would be,
Well,
if she can go, and if she would be.
I can't
I
help
don't know.
but wonder how much. Because I know Brad has said that Bailey's been done since her knee injury and she hasn't come back from it. You know what?
I mean, I think that
Maybe so.
I think there is something to that.
Right.
She's not the worker she was before.
But here's the other thing is that they had started treating her like dirt before that knee injury happened too. And
Yeah.
it started with that Alexa Bliss feud where it was you can't be mean enough to deal with me. And then she wasn't. They basically just squashed her and fed her to Alexa there. And they just kind of treated her like crap ever since. Would going to a new place renew some drive, and would we see something happen like happened with Champa? Maybe. I mean, Champa had experience before NXT, so it's kind of like him tapping back into that old stuff, and we don't know. Like, I don't think Bailey had a huge experience pre NXT stuff. Maybe she did. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But it might unlock something. And she might be like, no, it's go time. Let's do this. And here's her seminars. I could also see a world where her seminars were, this is something I'm wanting to do. And the office is like, oh, yeah, we'll help you with that. And then we're like looking over her shoulder, like, like the meme, and just taking advantage of it. Because I don't put anything past them. If I am more inclined to believe that they're going to do that kind of crap than I am to believe that they're going to be altruistic about anything at this point. What could Bailey bring? Truth be told, I think that number one, she's going to bring more eyes because people are going to be like, oh, snap, that happened? Yeah. And out of the four horsewomen, Bailey's the only one that I would want to sign because I don't want to bring in Charlotte. And I don't have a problem with Becky Lynch, but I don't think Becky Lynch's in ring work could keep up. And so I wouldn't want to bring her in either. So, hey, Bailey is done. Bailey's like, I don't want to work here anymore. I don't want to be part of this anymore. I'm done. I'm not re-signing. And maybe part of it was she's like, I'm sick of being treated like this, and you're gonna cut my contract and offer to pay me crap for it. I don't have to do this. And Mercedes is like, I'll put in a good word with TK for you. Okay, sure. And shows up, and maybe it doesn't work. Maybe the injury really did slow her down that much. And if that's the case, then Mercedes gets a backup, I guess. Or she gets over there and then all of a sudden it's a shot in the arm and she's feeling different and she's going, or she's got people around her who are able to help her work out how to work differently than how she did before the knee injury, as opposed to everyone being like, no, this is what you do. You do your signature spots and make sure you slow it or whatever, right? She is the one that I would be willing to take the chance on signing. Out of out of those, out of who's on that roster, who else am I going to sign? I already said I wouldn't sign Becky or Charlotte. I'm not going to sign Liv Morgan. Sorry. No. Like, that's. Liv Morgan is only going to thrive in the WWE product. No. I don't have anything against Rhea Ripley, but what is Rhea Ripley going to bring that is different than what AEW has? What
That's there's a whole other discussion we get into with Rhea Ripley that you could argue like she's actually regressed, and
right.
but she hasn't also like I mean I think she's had some injuries, but she hasn't worked as much in the last like couple of years as
Yeah.
people think.
And if you don't work as
I
much, you
mean,
lose your edge.
I mean if you're really just anyone like I from a pure like good wrestler standpoint like Io Sky slash Io Shirai, but it's like would she fit? Like really, and not necessarily.
Well,
You
okay,
can find a
I'll
way, I
say
guess,
this.
but
EO would probably be an upgrade from Hikaru Shida, wouldn't she?
uh, in terms of as a worker, yes. Uh, I think Sheeta's a better character, and Sheeta's actually has really developed especially this year with her
Yeah.
character,
Take Shida,
quite well.
take Shida and Shirai. I'm not saying put them together because they're both, but you could have them at what was it? Sane and EO did the Kabuki Warriors, I think is what they called
Well,
it.
Asuka,
You're right. I'm sorry, Asuka. And you could team EO up with not just Sheeta, but you could team her up with a lot of people and kick that into gear. That could be, or it could you could run an angle with the women's division and call it the Joshi Invasion. EO and Hikaru Shida and Riho and bring back Emi Sakura for it, like all that sort of stuff, and just have them start just wailing on the women's division, and then you get this long running feud that goes up and down the women's division roster. Okay, cool. I mean, Tekla's already kind of laid the groundwork for it. You could do that. There could be some benefit out of that. Of course, this is also just fantasy booking off the top of my head, so that means it carries about as much weight as you know a bag of nickels and two feathers if you take out the nickels. Um, but out of if Bailey is leaving WWE and she wants to keep wrestling on a nationally televised show, yeah, I would not have a problem with hiring her. I think that would be a good calculated risk. That's the phrase I'd been looking for.
if she's gonna actually leave, like I think we can like theorize, but if she's leaving, like Tony Khan's absolutely gonna make her an offer.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's really just up to her if she takes it, she
Yeah,
leaves.
yeah,
I guess we'll see. We'll see if she's really frustrated with the WWE, or she feels like she can hang. I mean, she could hang in AEW. Like, I don't mean to be mean, but it's like even I do think like she's. It's probably unfair to say she's washed, but let's say she's washed. Like
okay,
even then, like since she's washed since her knee injury,
yeah,
there are people on the AEW roster who are still would not be even at like a washed Bailey level. Like I'm a fan of them, but are you gonna tell me that even washed Bailey is worse than like Julia Hart and Sky Blue? Like I would say no.
I'm not.
And I like
No,
them. I like them, and they are improving, and they're taking steps to improve. Uh, is Harley Cameron worse or better? Is she better than Bailey? Like no, like Bailey could find a spot and
yeah,
do fine. And I say that it's like people hate on the AEW women's division or act like, oh, WWE is better. It's like, I don't know that I don't think it's better. And WWE still has a lot of women on there that are not good.
If we could, it needs to be a fair comparison if you say both rosters at full strength, because it's an unfair comparison to say to pick a time and compare them at those points. Like if everybody you have signed for that roster is available, and we take all of that into consideration, so that means that on the WWE side, it's Becky and Bianca and Rhea and Io and Liv and I guess Maxine Dupree. I don't. I Lyra Valkyrie. Like I can't run that whole list because, like I said, I don't watch them much. But then that means you don't just compare with Willow and Tekla. It's Willow, Tekla, Tony Storm, Mercedes. Like it's everybody. And I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the WWE roster pulling ahead. Tony, Willow, Tekla, Mercedes, Statlander, Sheeta, Sky Blue, Julia Hart. We'll put them out there. Divine Dominion, Lena Cross, and
Oh, I didn't even
Megan
think about
Bain.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll throw Penelope Ford on there because we said uh, everybody's healthy and ready to go. Um, I mean, Athena, I guess. Um, you know, look, that's a tough sell to say
Yeah.
that the WWE roster is going to beat that. Sorry,
Billy Starks.
I'm I'm on the
Red Velvet
fence
even
with
is like,
those last three with Athena, Billy Starks, and Red Velvet. Just I'm leaving out Queen Aminata too, and I shouldn't do
oh my
that.
God, Queen Alma is great.
Yeah,
Athena's great. What are you talking about?
well, because she's predominantly Ring of Honor stuff, and
True.
I'm just like I'm
Which
comparing
which
like
people like. People also getting with like, oh, people are disingenuous. It's like, oh, why would Tony Khan bring Athena? It's like, you think he wouldn't?
yeah,
Like it's obvious. It's obvious that behind the scenes, like Athena is where she wants to be.
it sure seems that way.
And there's comments where it's like, if you read between the lines, like that this is what she's chosen
Hmm.
because he doesn't want to just be like, I'm going to be on Dynamite every week,
Yeah,
you know,
I
for
want to be
whatever
the
reason.
big
Like I
fish.
don't. Yeah, I she has her reasons,
Hmm.
and obviously Tony Khan respects that. And it's not as if she's not well taken care of, and she's
Also,
treated as a big deal whenever she does show up. So
yeah,
it's like,
and look, even not high on the card, Thunder Rosa, Anna Jay, like they're not. Would I put Thunder Rosa's actually, I think, been a really good utility player for them because since she is a former women's champion, you could put her up against anybody, and her taking an L is not really going to hurt her, even if she's not operating at the level that Willow and Tekla and Mercedes and Tony Storm do and that sort of stuff. Okay, so what? You've got to have a full roster. You can't have everybody be main eventers. So yeah, I think she'd find a place there, and I think it'd be good. And if she is an experienced trainer, I think that she would also be an asset to have around. Like, is she better than Harley Cameron? Yeah, but I'm also super impressed with how much Harley has improved and continues to improve.
yeah.
And
Speaking of, I looked. Sorry
no, it's fine.
to to cut you off, but I just looked it up because I remember Dave actually talking about it on the Observer Radio last like few days. It's like Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Thunder Rosa, like she's currently in Mexico, and she just won the number one contendership for the Mexican national women's title
That CMLL.
in CMLL. Yeah, and Dave is theorizing that like when she actually does challenge soon,
Mm-hmm.
like the next like couple weeks for it, that she probably will win it.
Cool.
And he was going on about how like people like obviously again anti AEW fans like, oh, look at like look at Tony Khan just like forcing them to like put titles in it. It's like he's not forcing. Like he doesn't control these companies.
No.
It's obviously like there's a good thing. There's a whole like synergy thing going on
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, you have so in well, because especially in Stardom now you have Tekla and Julia
Triangle.
Hart and
Yeah.
I Blue the Triangle just won like the Stardom Artists of Stardom like the 6-man tag titles, and it's like
Yeah.
they're gonna lose that probably like within a day or like a couple of days from now. Like they're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
But it's a thing, and I remember back in the day when I was a little kid watching wrestling. It's like we were kind of like we started to get. I started watching when it was basically at the end of like the territory days,
Mm-hmm.
but you would get that all the time where it's like, oh, you had it's like I remember WCW. It's like, oh, you'd have like a New Japan guy come in. It's like, oh, they suddenly win a title, and they hold it for like a couple weeks and they lose it back.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you do that just because it's like, oh, look, it's our partner. It's like, oh, look, you guys should pay attention to these like guys because like, look, they can't win a title. It's like you're like, whoa, who's this guy? They won a title.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's an endorsement for this guy to say, look, I've got someone on my roster who I think would be a good fit for you, and I'm just going to have him come work for you on my dime. Because I don't think
yeah.
they've announced that she's got a dual contract. If Tony Khan was going to flex muscle on CMLL, don't you think he would have had him put a belt on Claudio
Oh,
when
he
Claudio
he
challenged?
didn't Claudio win?
Did he?
Yeah, Claudio I think had the title like their heavyweight title, but he has a dual contract.
Right. So,
He got a dual contract with CMLL. So,
yeah.
it's like, oh, why? Because he came there and again, like got massively over. Speaking of dual contracts, Persephone with CMLL has a dual contract with AEW, and that's another one that
Mm-hmm.
WWE fans like, oh, she's totally gonna sign with WWE. It's like she's literally gone on. She could, but she's gone on record as saying like she doesn't want to,
Yeah.
and she is primarily CMLL. She showed up obviously on AEW. Like she is someone who I can see in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan, oh, she'll like stop being just a CM. Like she's dual contract, but maybe it'll be like the shift will focus from CMLL to AEW. Because she's
Like,
someone that I think Tony Khan will be like I want you on AEW all the time
like
because she's fantastic.
dual contract, but instead of primary CMLL, primary AEW, but still dual
Yeah,
contract. Yeah.
and I think let me look this up. I think she may. I don't know if she was born in like America or but I hate to say this, but her English is very good.
Mm-hmm.
I only mention that because AEW is primarily like an English language company.
Yeah.
So who were two of the Joshi workers who have gotten a lot of attention, been pushed consistently, done well?
Yeah.
Hikaru Shida, Mina Shirakawa. Both of them speak English with a fairly high level of proficiency, enough at least that, you know, same with Takeshita, same with Okada. Like they speak English like fairly well,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I think Mina
Now
qualifies as fluent.
that's a little bit unfair because Okada and Takeshita are like world class in the
Oh
men's
yeah.
division, like just
Oh
world
yeah.
class worldwide. Like there's some of the there Okada is Okada's I don't think he's even 40 yet and has been several years now already like going down as one of the best of all time. Like you're already like living legend status by
Mm-hmm.
the time you're like mid 30s. Takeshita is like 30, 31 and one of the top workers in the world. Shida
Mm-hmm.
has been like a great worker and has been with AEW since like the beginning and is very good with English.
Mm-hmm.
Mina Shirakawa is like great with English too, and it's like, well, it's no wonder that they get pushed because they speak the language very well. So I think I could see the same thing for Persephone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
she's born in El Paso. So El Paso is in America. It's
Hmm.
very close to the border, but
Yeah.
she speaks English very fluently. And I hate to, again, I'm not trying to be like, because there's a lot of obviously like weirdness in our country right now with like, people who are foreign born or not
Yeah.
white,
Yeah.
fully white.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that AEW is a primarily an English language company. Like the ability to converse and just go out there and like, I'm going to cut a promo in English. It's going to serve you well on American television, and Persephone can do that. And Shida and Mina Shirakawa can both do that very
Yeah.
well.
Oh yeah.
As Ken Okada, Takeshita,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Well, we've gone pretty well long for this, and
Yeah.
it is, we went pretty well in depth on on three whole topics.
Right.
So, what I think we'll go ahead and call this one here. Brad will be back, and we'll be uh, we'll be back to probably our regularly scheduled stuff in the not distant future. And so, I hope you've enjoyed it. I mean, even if it's just instead of all
Mm.
three of us, two of the three. So thank you for joining us. We've been in these corners. You've been in that one over there. And we'll see you next time.